The gentleman from Arizona is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise today to offer a simple but important amendment which will save taxpayer money and demand accountability for one of the federal government's most invasive and rogue agencies, the IRS. This amendment reduces overall appropriations for the Internal Revenue Service in the bill by approximately 3% and brings funding for the IRS down to the FY 2007 appropriations. Current funding is between 2007 and 2008 levels. Additionally, my amendment still allows for more than $10.5 billion to go to the IRS. In this time where we have over $17 trillion in debt and a deficit this year exceeding $50 billion, this is a modest reduction at best. Again, this amendment only makes a 3% reduction to bring the appropriations in line with the 2007 appropriations. More directly than financial consideration or condition of the country is the fact that this agency has shown contempt for the American taxpayer. It has ignored Congress and ignored subpoenas. It has stonewalled. It has destroyed evidence. It has lied. It has abused its powers and targeted honest Americans for exercising their political beliefs. The list of scandals and examples of mismanagement within the IRS seems to grow every day. This agency, which aggressively pursues American citizens it believes deserves extra scrutiny, must understand that the IRS is first and foremost accountable to the American people, not the other way around. John Adams said, "Facts are stubborn things." In April, this body held former IRS Commissioner Lois Lerner in contempt of Congress for her role and testimony in relationship to the IRS targeting of conservative groups. Mrs. Lerner acted with reckless disregard for the constitutional rights of United States citizens while working at the IRS, and she must be held accountable. The blatant disregard of basic civil liberties and the use of government agencies to harass, target, intimidate, and threaten lawful, honest citizens was the worst form of authoritarianism. President Obama erroneously claimed that there isn't even a smidgen of corruption in the IRS targeting scandal, and yet a trail of emails proves otherwise. Further, Ms. Lerner is still refusing to testify on the grounds that she feels criminal prosecution. She should. She lied to Congress. She abused her position. She violated the rights of Americans. She tried to harm the electoral process and intimidate voters. Getting the truth and demanding accountability from President Obama's IRS should be not too much to ask for. Yet officials in this administration to continue to offer excuses and half-truths for what has developed in a disturbing trend, waste, fraud, and abuse. Tax information about the President's political opponents have been leaked. Americans were targeted for their political beliefs, and senior executives were given bonuses for their work. Waste and inefficiency has plagued the agency for years. The Treasury Inspector General has reported the IRS has been wasting upwards of $15 billion a year. Yeah, that's $15 billion with a B. More than $140 billion since 2003 due to its failure to comply with federal law to curb improper payments. Democrats and Republicans across the country have been demanding Congress do something other than holding hearing after hearing about the problems at the IRS. This amendment does something that Congress has complete power to do. It uses the power of the purse. As you know, you don't have a lot of other options, but we do know that the IRS scandal is one of the most serious scandals ever engaged in by any administration. How can the American people trust the federal government to use their taxpayers efficiently when the agency tasked with collecting it squanders billions before it can even be appropriated? This amendment simply brings IRS funding to the 2007 levels. The IRS must prove that it can be trusted with the hard-earned tax dollars of the American people before it asks Congress to increase its budget. If you disapprove of the IRS targeting conservative groups for their political beliefs, then support my amendment. If you disapprove of the IRS ignoring the congressional subpoenas, then support my amendment. If you disapprove of this agency stonewalling Congress, destroying evidence, and lying to the American people, then support my amendment. I thank the Chairman and Ranking Member for their continued work on the committee, and with that, I reserve the remainder of my time.